Donald Trump takes office as president. Will Israel still be shielded by U.S. protection? Let's explore. As many of you know, in the conflicts involving Israel against Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and even Iran, the United States has always stood firmly by Israel's side, essentially acting as a protective shield. When the war in Gaza erupted, the U.S. frequently supplied weapons to Israel. Furthermore, Israel's targeted actions against Hamas leaders and Iranian generals often escalated threats to its security. Iran has launched large-scale attacks against Israel using ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones, causing the worst damage Israel has seen in 40 years. Additionally, groups like the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas regularly attack Israel with rockets and missiles. Yet Israel has remained secure despite facing up to 7 adversaries simultaneously in the Middle East. This security cannot be separated from U.S. support. It is fair to say that America treats Israel like a sibling. Since the outbreak of war, the U.S. has deployed warships and bolstered its forces in the Middle East. Every time Iran attacks, U.S. ground and naval forces in the Red Sea remain on high alert. If Israel is targeted, U.S. air defense systems immediately intercept incoming missiles. For instance, the late April Iranian attack involving nearly 300 aircraft and missiles was largely neutralized due to U.S. intervention. At times of heightened tension, the U.S. has even sent 2 aircraft carriers to support Israel. Without U.S. support, it's hard to imagine Israel maintaining its current level of safety. Beyond military aid, the U.S. also protects Israel in economic and political spheres. Leveraging its influence, America has repeatedly shielded Israel from criticism at the United Nations and imposed sanctions on Iran, especially in the oil sector, in response to Iran's retaliatory threats against Israel earlier in October. On numerous occasions, the U.S. has pressured and warned Iran of severe consequences if it attacks Israel. It's evident that the U.S. has gone above and beyond for Israel, a level of commitment that Ukraine, for example, has not enjoyed. However, all this occurred under President Biden's administration. Now that Donald Trump has been re-elected and will soon take office, will Israel continue to enjoy this unparalleled level of protection? Recently, Trump made a statement that resonated with many, declaring he would end wars, prevent further loss of lives, and avoid extending conflicts. If applied to the Middle East, this suggests Trump might aim to prevent prolonged wars in the region. But will this approach resemble his stance on Ukraine? Israel and Ukraine differ vastly in their geopolitical contexts. Israel has never had to beg for U.S. support like Ukraine has. In fact, Israel has frequently stood its ground against U.S. presidents. During Biden's tenure, there were times when he and Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu went months without speaking, delegating communication to lower-level officials. Despite Israel's defiance, the U.S. has proactively supported Israel, sending troops and aid without needing any requests. By contrast, Ukraine often has to lobby for assistance, whether it's long-range missiles or NATO membership. Ukrainian President Zelensky has made multiple trips to the U.S. seeking help. Even under Biden's administration, Ukraine struggled to secure aid. With Trump in office, Ukraine might find it even harder to get support. Trump has expressed a firm stance on Ukraine, opposing further financial involvement and possibly forcing Ukraine into painful peace negotiations. But would Trump treat Israel similarly? Unlike Ukraine, Israel is the aggressor in many cases, with the ability to halt its military actions to end conflicts. However, Israel is reluctant to stop, aiming to eliminate threats completely, as seen in the aftermath of the October 7th attack last year. If Israel were to cease its offensives now, the Middle East might experience short-term peace. Yet groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, driven by high-risk tolerance and little to lose, might resume attacks on Israel at any moment. Iran, on the other hand, must weigh its actions more carefully. Trump, known for his unpredictability and impulsive temperament, appears to share traits with Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu. During the October election campaign, when Biden was asked about a potential Israeli attack on Iran's nuclear facilities, he calmly advised against it. Biden's administration has worked to ensure Israel refrains from such actions. In contrast, Trump criticized Biden's response, stating that Israel should attack Iran's nuclear sites. Trump seemingly favors swift and decisive action, a negotiation tactic rooted in his business background. An Israeli strike on Iran's nuclear program would force Iran into two choices: accept the attack and back down, or retaliate, knowing it risks a devastating escalation with the U.S. in Israel. Polls conducted by Channel 12 reveal that 67% of Israelis are pleased with Trump's victory, reflected in street celebrations. Netanyahu was one of the first world leaders to congratulate Trump, describing their conversation as warm and collaborative, emphasizing mutual commitments to Israel's security. During his first term, Trump enacted several controversial pro-Israel policies. In 2017, he recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, moved the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, overturned decades of U.S. policy and international consensus, and acknowledged Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, territory seized from Syria in the 1967 war. Trump also facilitated the Abraham Accords, normalizing relations between Israel and some Arab states, though leaving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict unresolved. Analysts speculate Trump might further normalize relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia during his second term. He may also revive his deal of the century, a plan granting Israel control over West Bank settlements while offering Palestinians limited autonomy. If Trump aligns with Netanyahu's vision, Middle East tensions could escalate but resolve swiftly, with adversaries either retreating or being decisively defeated. While this could lead to increased damage initially, it might expedite conflict resolution. Ultimately, whether Trump's policies succeed will depend on real-time developments. However, if a fight must occur, it's better to resolve it decisively rather than endure prolonged suffering. Similar to a patient preferring either a quick recovery or a final resolution rather than prolonged agony. By the way, I recently tried a Lego-inspired kit with over 600 intricately designed parts, including gears, chains, and brake discs. Amazingly, it costs less than $300,000 VND. It's a great way to improve logical thinking and patience for yourself or your kids. Click the link below to order one and start sharpening your skills today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.